All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the one and only Wrestling Otaku channel. Of course, your personification of excellence on YouTube and YWC. We're the best reviews wrestling and your three-time YWC channel of the year. And I'm back here. It is now officially Friday night, Friday, December 27th of 2024. So we're headed to the weekend here. Hope you all have had a good one. We're a little over an hour away from the final Rampage of 2024, and this is going to be a historic one because it will be the final AEW Rampage ever. Because, of course, as some of you may know, starting in 2025 in January, AEW will be moving away from Rampage. They will be essentially removing Rampage altogether from AEW programming starting in 2025 because, of course, the new TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, AEW is just going to have Dynamite and Collision going forward, going into their streaming deal and continue on with their TV deal heading into the new year. So this will be the final Rampage in the show's short tenure in the company's history. So looking forward to seeing what they got. Seemingly they got a stat card for tonight's Rampage for the final one of its history, of AEW's history. But anyway, so here tonight, I'm here to give you guys my official, with obviously it being Friday, we're very close, of course, to the weekend, and we're just 4 days away, or 5 days away from the start of the new year. So I figured I'd go ahead and give you guys this now. So I'm going to give you, in this video, my official AEW World's End 2024 pay-per-view predictions video. We are just under 24 hours away, one day removed from AEW World's End. Of course, it takes place tomorrow night, Saturday, December 28th of 2024. So I wanted to go ahead and give you guys my predictions video. If you saw here on the channel, I actually showed the match card that they had on Dynamite, at the back end, or as Dynamite closed out the show. And I gave, I also had a little compilation of every match card of all AEW's pay-per-views throughout the year. So I hope you guys like those little two videos that I did. But anyway, so this is going to be AEW's final pay-per-view of the calendar year, final pay-per-view of 2024. It is going to be the conclusion of the Continental Classic, the second Continental Classic in the company's history. And we're going to have the semifinals and the finals of the Continental Classic tournament. And, of course, with the winner being crowned the new Continental Champion. Of course, the current champion, Okada, is in the semifinals. And so we're going to get into that. And also, we got several other matches, a lot of title matches on this show. Really looking at the match card, every title in AEW right now is on the line, minus the TNT title and the tag titles. That could change. But anyway, so with it being a day away, with the pay-per-view being a day away, I figure I'd go ahead and give you guys my predictions video for the pay-per-view, as I've done with pretty much every other AEW pay-per-view this year. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into this here. For those of you who are familiar with the channel, you've seen these past videos, you've seen my past predictions videos throughout the year or throughout the entirety of my time doing them here, on the Wrestling Otaku channel, be it the old one or this current channel. You know how this goes. For anybody who's new to the channel, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at every match that has been listed so far for the card for the pay-per-view for tomorrow night. Give a brief, thought. Give my brief thoughts on it, what I think, how it's going to go, so on and so forth, the build, all that kind of stuff. Just briefly. I'm not going to be too long with it. I'm going to try not to be too long with it. And I'll give you my prediction as to who I think is going to win and why. So, with that being said, without further ado, allow me to give you my AEW World's End 2024 predictions. So, here we go. As we currently stand, there are 8 matches. According to the Wikipedia, there are 8 matches that have been announced so far for the card for tomorrow night. They could add more. From what I'm seeing, there's no pre-show matches or no 0 hour, because they always have a 0 hour before, AEW's pay-per-views. So, looking at these 8 matches, there's no pre-show. There's no little P next to it. So, I imagine they're going to add at least 2 or so pre-show matches or, 0 hour matches between now and tomorrow. Maybe after Rampage we'll hear something. I don't know. But as of right now, according to the Wikipedia, and I just refreshed it before I came on here, there are 8 matches on the main card of the pay-per-view. So, going to go over those 8 matches. And if they add any more matches afterwards, I'll give I'll probably make a post or an update, on my community tab in regards to the matches that are added. So we'll see what happens. I imagine at some point they're going to add a tag match or some variation of a tag match, maybe for the AEW tag titles. It's a little surprising that they don't have the AEW tag titles on the line on the show. Considering that Private Party hasn't had a Private Party, since becoming champions, haven't really defended the titles in a true proper tag match. They defended it in a 4-way at the last pay-per-view, all Full Gear, but they didn't. To my immediate knowledge, they haven't defended it in a standard tag match. So maybe Private Party gets added to the card and they defend the tag titles. We'll see. But anyway, with that being said, let me go ahead and give my predictions for the matches so far. So let us begin. We'll start with the 2 Continental Classic semifinals matches. First up is going to be a rematch of sorts, a rematch of the last pay-per-view Full Gear, and a very much highly anticipated match, one that I personally am looking forward to, and one that I'm sure will be a fucking solid, banger-ass, 5-star, 6-star classic match here. It is going to be Will Ospreay one-on-one versus Kyle Fletcher. We saw this match at All In. We saw how good that was. We saw how Kyle Fletcher in that match truly established himself as a singles competitor, established himself in the singles division by getting a win over his former tag partner, his former mentor, if you will, the guy he looked up to. They were a part of United Empire for so long, and obviously Kyle Fletcher now under the umbrella of the Don Callis family, getting a victory, a clean victory, no less, over Will Ospreay, as impressive of a victory as you would see against a talent like a Will Ospreay. And then, of course, in the Continental Classic, Kyle Fletcher, overall, he was pretty solid. Like, he won 4 of the 5 matches he competed in. These 12 points. He won he was the top guy in the Blue League, and so as a result, he is here in the semifinals match, and he faces Will Ospreay, who surprisingly wasn't as impressive as I expected. Well, I don't want to say as impressive, but it's just Will Ospreay kind of like he suffered a number of losses. At one point back-to-back losses. He lost to Darby Allin, and then right after that he lost to Ricochet, but he managed to get in the tournament by getting a victory over Brody King on the last episode of Dynamite. So as a result, Will Ospreay is the second man from the Gold League to enter this, the semifinals here, or qualify for the semifinals. But nonetheless, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher, that match number 2, I promise you, man, this is going to be match of the year, much like their first match was at Full Gear. Dare I say this is going to be better than their first match, because Will Ospreay, like going into that last match, Kyle Fletcher as a singles competitor, he was good, but we had not seen him as good as he was in that Full Gear match. He really, really stepped it up, really stepped his game up in that Will Ospreay match that he had at Full Gear last month. And he got him getting the win the way that he did, clean for the most part, over a Will Ospreay, no interference from Don Callis or any other members of the Don Callis family. He beat that man clean in the ring. And like I said before, he really established himself as a singles competitor, as a main event upper echelon talent in AEW. And this rematch that we're going to see in the semifinals of the Continental Classic, no less, with all the stakes on the line, it is going to be something. It is going to be a damn special match. I'm telling you right now, this match is going to be something special on this card. So depending on where I can see this opening up the show. I imagine they're going to have the semifinals early on the show because, again, they still have to have the finals, and all 4 guys, whoever advances in the 2 matches, have to, move on to face each other in the final. But anyway, so this is going to be a badass match. No, that's my point. This is going to be a badass match of the year candidate. I would argue it's going to be as good, if not better, than their Full Gear match. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see this rematch. As to who wins, it's going to be tough, but I got to give it to Will Ospreay. I just don't see him losing back-to-back matches, even if it is against a very much improved Kyle Fletcher. I got to say Will Ospreay gets the Duke here. He gets payback. He gets retribution for that loss at Full Gear, and he goes over on the young, up-and-coming talent that is Kyle Fletcher. And this is not going to be the last match we see between these two. Trust and believe that. Kyle Fletcher, as good as he is right now that he's established himself as a singles wrestler, as a potential main event caliber athlete, this is not going to be the last match we'll see between these two. But I got Will Ospreay winning this match. Will Ospreay will advance to the finals. So then, after that, sorry, I didn't go over all that. We get to our second semifinals match in the Continental Classic. We have Kazuchika Okada, the runner-up in the Gold League, well, Blue League. I'm sorry. The runner-up in the Blue League, yeah. Kazuchika Okada, the runner-up in the Blue League, and the current Continental Champion, who again is in the semifinals, one-on-one versus the winner or the number one seed, if you will, in the Gold League, that being Ricochet. Much to my surprise, I didn't think Ricochet would make it this far, but it is what it is. So again, both these two guys had some solid matches, some really solid outings. Okada surprisingly put over some people, in terms of the Continental Classic. I personally thought he would have done a lot better than he did. Well, he did. He wrestled a badass match. Of course, he was in the same. He was in the same league as Kyle Fletcher. He wrestled against Kyle Fletcher and took the loss to Kyle Fletcher. Surprisingly, had a tie with Daniel Garcia, and if I'm not mistaken, he took the loss to somebody else. I can't remember right off the top of my head who he took the L to. But I guess it doesn't matter. But anyway, so Kazuchika Okada, Continental Champion, defending Continental Champion going into this Continental Classic, and obviously a world-class athlete, world-class talent. We all heard, that he's such a great tournament, wrestler, with all those G1s, and that he's won over the years in New Japan, all his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it is only natural, it's only fitting that he's in the semifinals here, which I think all of us predicted, going into this Continental Classic tournament. And he's facing Ricochet, a man who's surprisingly come out of the Gold League with the most points. He finished with 10. And he beat Will Ospreay, albeit through, some dirty tactics. But he did beat Will Ospreay in that match a couple weeks ago. And he looked pretty damn impressive as well. He had a tie with Darby Allin on the last show on Dynamite to give him the 10 points. And he looked pretty impressive. He's got this whole heel thing he's got going on right now. This heel shtick, this heel vibe. He hasn't full on turned heel. He's more like I guess you could say a tweener, but he's showing signs of turning heel. But I look to this match, and personally, I don't think it will be as impressive or as good as the Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher match. But I do see these guys putting on a show, especially Okada. Okada can put on a good match, can pull a good match out of anybody. And Ricochet, ever since being, he's had some damn impressive matches in the Continental Classic. Really, ever since coming to AEW, he's really turned it up. He's really put on a show in just about every match he's been in. So I look for these guys to put on another classic outing here. And the second semifinals match in the Continental Classic, this ought to be a good one. This ought to be a very good one between these two. As to who wins, sorry, Ricochet, I don't think you're making it past Okada here. I don't think Okada's losing the semifinals. I'm just putting it out there right now. I got Kazuchika Okada winning this match. He downs Ricochet, puts down Ricochet. He advances to the finals, where he will put his Continental Classic title on the line in the finals of this year's Continental Classic. So, if that scenario plays out, then that means that the finals of the Continental Classic will be... Didn't think we'd get this match this early, but, it's the end of 2024, but still... And if that scenario plays out, if those two semifinals matches play out the way that I just described, then in the finals of the Continental Classic, we're going to get Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada. The winner would be Continental Classic champion for 2024, and whoever wins will be the Continental champion. Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada, I predict, will be the finals of the Continental Classic. And let me tell you something right now. I know these two guys were in New Japan for a long time. I don't know right offhand if they faced each other. I'm sure they have. Okada's been in New Japan forever, and Will Ospreay was there for a good while, for a long time, during his tenure. I think he was, IWGP champion as well. So I'm sure these guys have faced each other at some point or another in New Japan. This will be their first ever meeting in AEW. If this finals plays out the way that I just described, and if these two guys meet each other in the finals, then what I said about that Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher match applies to this match. Match of the year candidate, easily a show stealer. This match is going to blow the roof off the place. You put Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada in a match against each other? Are you kidding me? That is fucking money. That is main event, top tier, 5-star, 5-star, 6-star classic right there. That is easily a match of the year, match of the night candidate right there in itself. And I promise you, if those two guys meet in the finals, they are going to put on an epic showing like we've never ever seen before in this company. I promise you that. I promise you that. You put Okada and Ospreay in the same ring, whoo, oh fucking boy. Let me take my money. That's all I gotta say. Take my money. Holy shit. Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada in the finals of the Continental Classic tournament. I'm calling it right now. That will be the finals of the tournament. As to who wins, oh boy, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. But I'm leaning towards the man. I'm leaning towards Will Ospreay winning this thing. I'm leaning towards Will Ospreay getting the big win on Kazuchika Okada. Will Ospreay will be the winner of the Continental Classic tournament in 2024. Therefore, Will Ospreay will be, at the end of the night, will be the new Continental Champion. He will down Okada. Okada will put on a hell of a showing, as I'm sure both these guys will. But I got my money on Will Ospreay on this show. He is too good to not fucking do something on this night. That's what I'm predicting right now. I'm predicting Will Ospreay wins this tournament. Will Ospreay will be Continental Classic champion, or he will win the Continental Classic 2024, and he will be the Continental champion coming out of World's End. I'm calling it right now. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I could easily see Okada winning this too. And Okada successfully retains his Continental Championship, going in to be the first man to ever hold the Continental Championship, going into the tournament and winning the tournament and defending it against all comers. Which, again, this is only the second tournament. It's only the second year in a row. This is only the second year they've done the Continental Classic, and only the Continental Championship was only just established last year. But I'm just saying, I can see Okada doing that, but my money is on Will Ospreay. It just is. It just is. Either way, we're getting 3 top-tier match of the year candidate matches out of this thing at World's End. And you don't think this is going to be a banger pay-per-view and a top-tier pay-per-view? You don't think AEW is going to go out with a bang? Oh my fucking God. Just those 3 matches alone. And so, I guess if you think about it, there are, well, actually, no, never mind. It has the finals listed here, never mind. I was going to say, if you think about it, there are 9 matches, but actually it has the finals listed here, never mind. You know, the winners of each individual semifinals match. So, never mind, forget what I just said. But anyway, moving on. Let me just keep going. I don't want to harp too much on those. Maybe let me just keep going here. All right, moving on. Okay, so next up, we get a singles match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, or the finals, I guess you could say, the Dynamite Diamond Ring whole thing. Of course, you know, every year they've had this Dynamite Diamond Ring. They've had a Battle Royal, and then the final 2 men of the battle. Well, in the first year, the final 2 men of the Battle Royal will go on to face each other. That was in the inaugural year, and MJF won it. And every year, MJF has held the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and every year they have a Battle Royal, and the winner of the Battle Royal will face MJF, and so on and so forth. So yeah. But anyway, so this is going to be a singles match here for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, held currently by MJF. It will be, of course, the current holder MJF, one-on-one versus the man who has been pursuing him for several months now, you could say, that being Adam Cole. So this looks to be, I'm sure a lot of people will want this to be the culmination or the climax, if you will, or the finale, if you will, of the feud between MJF and Adam Cole. Hopefully this will be a proper finish. Hopefully, not hopefully, I'm sure they will put on an excellent classic match. And they've had, 1 or 2 of them before. Their last match was last year in All In. This was before Adam Cole got injured. And this was during the whole period where the 2 of them were tag champions. The 2 of them were teaming together. They had that whole friendship bond. And then you had the reveal of Adam Cole being the man behind the mask, if you will, costing MJF the AEW World title last year against Samoa Joe before he, took time off due to injury himself. And so this here, going into this match, MJF is now the heel and Adam Cole is the babyface. And Adam Cole has been pursuing MJF for months. And now finally he gets his hands on MJF in this match, and with the extra added stakes that this match is for MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring, which again every single year since the inaugural year, since AEW's inaugural year, MJF has held the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So we'll see what happens. This should be a good match nonetheless. And I know a lot of people are saying, the storyline hasn't been really anything special. They need to end it, so on and so forth. I think Personally, I tend to agree. I hope that this is the finale, if you will. I hope this is the blow-off or the payoff, if you will. We'll see what happens going forward. But nonetheless, we're getting a good match out of it, for sure. Though, MJF versus Adam Cole, Dynamite Diamond Ring on the line. My pick as to who I think is going to win. Personally, I know conventional wisdom says take MJF, but I got to go with Adam Cole here. I go with Adam Cole. Adam Cole finally gets his payoff, gets his redemption, if you will. He becomes the first man in AEW's history to dethrone MJF from the whole Dynamite Diamond Ring format, and he becomes only the second man in AEW's history to hold the Dynamite Diamond Ring and gets the ultimate payback and the ultimate retribution against MJF here. So give me Adam Cole over MJF. That's the payoff. That's the finish. Adam Cole is your new Dynamite Diamond Ring holder, and that's my prediction for that match. All right, moving on. Next up, we get the first of two women's championship matches here. Excuse me. We get a Tijuana street fight for the AEW Women's World Championship. The current champion, Mariah May, defends against the namesake Thunder Rosa. We've seen these two kind of butt heads the last couple weeks. Ever since, Mariah May successfully defended her title against Mina Shirakawa, even before that. And then we had, of course, that was the night that Toni Storm returned with her new, well, not new, I should say her old gimmick, but Toni Storm made a return, and now she's basically playing, Toni Storm is playing like, she's, this is her debut in AEW. She's kind of got this amnesia thing going on with Toni Storm. But anyway, so we've seen Thunder Rosa obviously not too happy or too pleased with Mariah May and how she's presented herself as champion. Of course, Mariah May is basically going on record and saying that the women's division is dead and she runs the women's division, so on and so forth. And so we've seen kind of a little bit of a personal vendetta between these two last few weeks. I believe it was Thunder Rosa who challenged Mariah May to this match and made it a Tijuana street fight. And then we've seen Mariah May the last few weeks make references to Thunder Rosa's father, saying that her father's going to be in attendance and he's going to watch her lose or some stuff. So kind of get a little personal, little personal, if you will, in promos involving these two. So I think this match is going to be solid. We've seen Thunder Rosa in a lot of really solid, high-caliber matches in AEW in her tenure. She was a former AEW Women's Champion, of course, and she's taken time off, but she's really, throughout the course of this year, she has really kind of started to get some of that steam, get some of that momentum back, and she's, a talent who is good enough to hold matches, to have carry anybody to a good match. And Mariah May has been really on some kind of a run since becoming women's champion. So I think there's going to be a good one. Another solid match in the women's division for the AEW Women's World Title. So, and I'm not sure what a Tijuana street fight entails, but I imagine it's going to be violent. It's possibly we're going to have one or both of these ladies bleeding, and that's AEW for you. AEW does not shy away from having blood, first of all. And even, women in matches of this caliber or of this sort where you see ladies basically, bloodied and stuff like that. AEW's not shy away from that. And I'm sure you're going to see plenty of that in this match. It should be physical, should be violent, and they're going to put on a show here, I tell you. But Mariah May versus Thunder Rosa, Tijuana Street Fight for the AEW Women's World Title. My prediction, I got to give it to Mariah May here. This may be, I guess you could say, Thunder Rosa's match or her namesake. But I got the feeling that Mariah May is going to retain her. I get the feeling that there's a certain individual that they're waiting for Mariah May to drop this title to. It may or may not be Toni Storm, but I'm just saying. But I got Mariah May. I don't see Mariah May losing this match here. With all due respect to Thunder Rosa, she is a hell of a talent, and I do think she deserves another title run at some point, be it either TBS or the Women's World Title. I don't see her winning on this night. So Mariah May wins this match. She retains the title. Moving on. So next up, we get another singles match here. This one being for the AEW International Championship. The current champion, Konosuke Takeshita, defends against his former, I guess, partner, his former stablemate in the Don Callis family, that being Powerhouse Hobbs. We've seen Powerhouse Hobbs make his return a couple weeks ago. And in weeks following, he's basically gone at, if you will, Don Callis for essentially kicking him out, the Don Callis family after, he was injured for so long. And he's basically made his intentions known that he wants to make the Don Callis family pay, specifically make Don Callis pay for doing what he did to him, basically ousting him, after being injured for so long. And now he set his sights on the international title. They're currently held, obviously, by Konosuke Takeshita, who's had a decent little run. I think he's, still got some time to get some more wins under his belt, so on and so forth, and truly establish himself as the international champion. But yeah, Konosuke Takeshi's had some good matches in his tenure as international champion. So I think there's going to be another solid match here. Like I said, between two stablemates, between two guys who used to be a part of the same faction. We saw a little bit of a rift, even when Powerhouse Hobbs was in the Don Callis family, but they always kind of held us together. But now that Powerhouse Hobbs is no longer in the Don Callis family, this whole thing has come to a head, and this match obviously is going to be for the international title. So I look forward to seeing what they do here. I think both guys are capable of putting on solid outings, and so I think together they're going to put on a good match here and another classic outing here on this pay-per-view. And it's certainly going to be pay-per-view quality match. I'll say that right now. Really, all these matches on the show are going to be pay-per-view quality matches. As to who wins, kind of a toss-up for me. I can see Takeshita retaining. I can see Powerhouse Hobbs winning this match and winning the title. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough to pick who wins this match here. Honestly, I got to give it to Takeshita. I think Takeshita wins. He retains the title for now. I do think these two are going to have another match down the pike, and at some point, Powerhouse Hobbs is going to get another singles title. He was a previously TNT champion for a time, for like a couple weeks before losing that, and I think that was right around the time he got hurt, or a little after that. But so that, his TNT title reign was kind of short-lived, I think, again, because of injury. But I do see Powerhouse Hobbs at some point establishing himself once again in that singles division, in that mid-card, upper mid-card scene, especially now that he's no longer in the Don Callis family. And I do think we see a series of matches between these two, but for the time being, for this match, I think Konosuke Takeshita, he does, since becoming champion, I did say he needs to have more wins and more of a established reign under his belt before dropping the title here. I got to go with Takeshita here. I say Konosuke Takeshita wins this match by hook or by crook. You might see some interference. You might see Don Callis get involved and use some underhanded, shady tactics to help his man win, which I fully expect to happen. I mean, it's Don Callis we're talking about. But anyway, so I got Konosuke Takeshita winning this match, and Takeshita will remain the AEW International Champion, again, for the time being. But don't count out Powerhouse Hobbs. I think Powerhouse Hobbs at some point will truly be an established talent in AEW in terms of the mid-card, upper mid-card division. We'll see what happens. So, okay, sorry, I had to pause it for a second. Blow my nose. But anyway, moving on. So the second to last match here, the seventh match, if you will, it will be another singles match here. This one will be in the women's division, and this one will be for the AEW TBS Championship. The current champion, Mercedes Moné, the CEO, defending against my girl, yes, that's right, in a rematch versus my girl, Chris Statlander. So we saw these two wrestle at Full Gear, and what a spectacular match it was. A lot of people were saying it's the best match, the best women's match in AEW all year, the best women's pay-per-view match all year. Mercedes Moné's best match since coming to AEW. So many people just so positive and had gushing praise for this match. Their last match at Full Gear, which Mercedes Moné ended up winning by hook or by crook. And I tend to agree. I did watch that match in its entirety, and personally, I'm not surprised because it's my girl, Chris Statlander. I knew just how good she was. I know how good Chris Statlander is. I've known for a long time how good Chris Statlander is. Ever since she debuted at AEW, I've known how good Chris Statlander is. That woman deserves to be a top-tier talent in the women's division. She deserves to be women's champion. No doubt in my mind. She deserves another run at not only the TBS title, but the AEW Women's World title. She's too good to be not doing anything on this division, She's too good to not be contending at the top of the card in the women's division. And then Mercedes Moné, and a lot of people have been saying, oh, she's had a disappointing run, or she hasn't been as good as advertised, or so on and so forth. I disagree. Mercedes Moné has been as good as she's ever been. I personally think she's had a hell of a run in AEW so far. Just about every match that she's been in AEW, pay-per-view or otherwise. I think Mercedes Moné has put on a showing. She's really shown out, ever since, of course, leaving the E. I personally think Mercedes Moné is on her game. She's been on her game. She's been top tier, top of the card since she's left the E. I really truly believe she's established herself as one of the top women's talents in the world, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. And, obviously you attribute that to her, to her personal talents. But I think since coming to AEW, she has really stepped up her game here. And so I believe that these two will wrestle in another classic match, which may be just as good, if not better, than a Full Gear match. And I personally believe it will be. So this match, obviously, again, rematch here for the TBS title. And I look for this match to be a potential dark horse for match of the night. Show stealer, potential show stealing match. Maybe more so than the Mariah May Thunder Rosa match for the AEW Women's World title. That's how good I think these two are. And we saw a glimpse of that, or we saw evidence of that at the previous pay-per-view with their their prior match. And so I'm looking forward to this match, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander do in this rematch. So can't wait. Can't wait to see what happens. And I know they're going to give us a show just like they did at Full Gear. As to who wins, I gotta say the fact that they had Chris Statlander booked in this rematch leads me to believe that they're going to have Chris Statlander come full circle, and she is going to be the one to take the TBS title from Mercedes Moné on this show. I just get that feeling. They wouldn't have booked her in this match otherwise. They wouldn't have. I personally didn't even know this match was booked until like a few days ago. But as soon as they announced that Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander was going to be, they were going to have a rematch at this pay-per-view, on this pay-per-view at World's End, I was like, this is the night. This is the night that that Chris Statlander vindicates herself, and she reestablishes herself as a top talent in the women's division, and she reclaims the TBS title that has eluded her for so long. You remember she was TBS champion years ago, but then she lost it, and then she got injured and was out for almost a year. And she never had quite a proper run as TBS champion, much like with Powerhouse Hobbs never had quite a proper run with the TNT title. So give me Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander wins this match. She avenges her loss from the previous pay-per-view, and Chris Statlander gets a hell of a W, gets a hell of an establishing win over a top-tier talent in Mercedes Moné, and she wins the TBS title and brings even more prestige and more value to that TBS title in the process. So I got Chris Statlander winning this match, and she wins, and she becomes the new AEW TBS champion going forward. That's what I see. That's what I see. I just don't see I don't really see any other outcome. Like, they wrestled at Full Gear. Mercedes Moné won in a hell of an outing. Like I said, people are saying it was the best women's match in AEW all year. The best pay-per-view women's match in AEW all year. And now they're wrestling in a rematch. You got to give it to Chris Statlander, man. You just have to. Chris Statlander has to win this match, man. She just has to. I love Mercedes Moné, don't get me wrong. But Chris Statlander has to get it done. Fingers crossed. Chris Statlander wins this match. She's the new TBS champion. And then finally, wrapping it all up here, finally, we got our main event of the night, four-way match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Jon Moxley, the current champion, Jon Moxley, defends against three challengers, that being Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. The story of this match is obviously Jon Moxley, current champion. He's been champion for months now since, winning the title from Bryan Danielson back at Wrestle Dream. And he and the Death Riders have been essentially terrorizing AEW, beating everybody up. Moxley's cutting these cryptic promos saying nobody deserves to win the world's title. Nobody deserves to be champion. Nobody deserves to even look at the title. And saying, we only have, we have a lot of work to do. Don't have time to do it. And saying that, people at AEW are lazy. And, they say that he wants to change the mentality of the guys in the locker room and so on and so forth. He's cutting all these cryptic promos. And we've been hearing for months, about I guess you could say in so many words, a supposed higher power or, That's what people have been suggesting, that there's a higher power in the works that is behind, the motivation and the actions of the Death Riders. And that's kind of what you've been listening to in terms of Moxley and these cryptic promos that he's cutting. And so he's currently world champion. And then you got, obviously, you got guys like Orange Cassidy, who is pursuing Jon Moxley for the purpose of reclaiming the AEW World's title for AEW, for the company, who's basically, Orange Cassidy has basically established himself as Team AEW, if you will, if you want to, go that route. But Orange Cassidy pursuing Jon Moxley, he has for, a good while now. He tried to win the title. He failed to capture the title in their singles match back at Full Gear, the main event of Full Gear, last month. And he has since, continued to pursue Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. And, and of course, Darby Allin being another guy who's been going after Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. Although, as of right now, Darby Allin's not on this show. I'm sure down the line, especially in 2025, Darby Allin will be in that title picture, and that's another story for another time. But then you got guys like Jay White, who, he's kind of established himself as a kind of more of a face character. In previous, before, way back when, he was more of a heel. Him and the Bullet Club Gold were more as heels. They were seen as heels. Now he's kind of like a tweener. He's more so leaning on the fence of being a face, and he's been going at Jon Moxley, and he's saying he wants Moxley, and he wants the world title, and so on and so forth. It is back and forth with Hangman Page at the time. And then you got Hangman Page, who's not really a face right now, or not really a heel. He's more of a tweener than anybody in this match. Whereas he's going after Jon Moxley. He wants to, take the title, or he's really focused. Really, Hangman Page, what it's about for him is himself. He's focusing on himself, and he wants Jon Moxley because he wants the AEW World's title. He's not doing it for anything else. And then we've seen him basically, state in the past, because he's been in matches where he's teamed with, Orange Cassidy and Jay White. He's saying, he basically doesn't care about anything but, pursuing Jon Moxley and the world's title. So he's more in it for himself. But he's not necessarily a heel right now, or he doesn't have, necessarily heelish tactics. Or, well, he has, he's walked out on partners. There was like a 6-man tag match for a few weeks ago where he walked out on his partners. Then he came back later. And so it's kind of like, right now, Hangman Page is kind of like in that in-between, that gray area. He's like a tweener right now. He's not really a face, not really a heel. But he's really wants the AEW World's title, and he really wants to go at Jon Moxley. And so as a result, he's in this match. So a lot of kind of interesting variables going into this match, just with all the guys. It's a four-way match. The champion Moxley, and then 3 challengers who have all been kind of butting heads the last couple weeks, really aren't on the same page, or they're not supposed to be, because they're all competing against each other for the AEW World's title. Where, you would think that with Orange Cassidy trying to rally the troops, if you will, trying to, get back the title for the company, for AEW, and then you got Jay White and Hangman Page who are more so in it for themselves. Well, Jay White kind of seemed like he's more on Orange Cassidy's side, lately, whereas Hangman Page is just a lone wolf, if you will. And so yeah, we got a lot of different variables, a lot of moving parts, a lot of different, factions, and a lot of different factions, a lot of different things going into this match. Of course, you got Moxley, the Death Riders. You got Orange Cassidy and his group, the conglomeration. You got Jay White and his, Bullet Club Gold, or Bang Bang Gang, or, even though Juice Robinson is out right now with injury. And then you got, again, Hangman Page, who's more of a lone wolf. And we saw a little bit of camaraderie, or a little bit of a moment, if you will, between Hangman Page and current authority figure, interim EVP, that being Christopher Daniels, who basically told Hangman Page on Dynamite, said, "Hey, if you need somebody to have your back, I'll have your back," or something to that effect. And so yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of interesting variables going into this match. Nonetheless, I think all 4 of these guys are going to put on a pretty interesting match. They're going to put on a clinic. They're going to put on a show. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys fighting each other, a lot of different, a lot of spots, a lot of fighting on the outside of the ring, inside of the ring. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts of this match. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of outside variables at the end of it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure that these four guys are going to put on a show on this match in the main event, what will be the main event of this pay-per-view. So I look forward to seeing what happens and what transpires. And really, I look forward to seeing what transpires after the match is over, because I think that will really tell the story of where AEW is going to be. Excuse me. I really think that's going to tell where AEW, where they will go going forward in terms of the storylines. As to who wins, I gotta say Jon Moxley retains, honestly. So in the main event, four-way match here for the AEW World's title, I got Jon Moxley retaining. I really can't see any result right now. I just personally think that in regards to this whole Death Rider storyline with Moxley and Claudio and Pac and Will Yuta and Marina Shafir, I personally think there's a lot of things that AEW has yet to reveal. There's a lot of elements that we're not quite getting. Like, again, Moxley cutting these scripted promos, and, there's been rumors of there being a higher power behind, what the motivation of the Death Riders. I really still believe that we're in the early stages of this thing. And I think at some point very soon, we're going to get a massive, massive reveal in regards to this whole Death Riders thing, in regards to who's pulling the strings behind Jon Moxley, the Death Riders. And we could see the reveal here. We could see a reveal after this match on this pay-per-view. Or it could be early 2025. As early as, next week's AEW Dynamite, which takes place on New Year's Day, January 1st, which is the first ever simulcast where AEW will be airing on both TBS and be streaming on Max on the same day. So big simulcast. So we'll see. But I just don't see any result other than Jon Moxley retaining. I personally think that with all the other guys, with the other three contenders, the other three challengers, they're pretty much going to they're pretty much going to get at each other, and they're in essence going to cost each other the match, or they're going to, basically allow Jon Moxley to kind of slither in, sneak between the cracks, if you will, and he is going to find the way to steal this match and retain his title at the end of the day by hook or by crook. Well, obviously, we're probably going to see some form of outside interference with the Death Riders at some point in this match. I just can't see it not happening. And Jon Moxley is going to find a way to retain the title and win this match. Now, afterwards, like I said, I think the real story is going to be what happens after the match. Now, we've been seeing for weeks Christian Cage basically vowing that he's going to cash in his guaranteed title shot. He's tried, He's tried previously, previous pay-per-views and previous events, and he's failed every time. I personally think, there may be a point where he tries it on this show, and I think he's going to get thwarted again, maybe by somebody returning, maybe by, some other force that we don't know of. But we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be very telling as to the finish of this match and the finish of the show, as to see where AEW takes this thing going forward. But as to who wins this match, I got Jon Moxley winning this match. He retains the title over the challengers Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. So that is my prediction for the main event. And those are all 8 matches. Those are my picks. Those are my predictions. And those are my thoughts on every single match. And so that's pretty much going to do it for that. So that'll conclude my AEW World's End 2024 pay-per-view predictions video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we're 40 minutes in. These pay-per-view predictions videos I do tend to run kind of long, so it is what it is. I do generally have a lot to say in regards to in regards to my thoughts on AEW, my breakdowns of the matches and stuff like that, and the breakdowns of the storylines and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's pretty much going to do it for that. So thank you for watching once again, and hope you guys, if you guys do plan on watching the pay-per-view tomorrow night, hope you enjoy it. I will get a chance to see it, so I know I'm going to be enjoying it. I know I am going to be. I know there are several matches: the Continental Classic, the semifinals, both semifinals matches, and the finals. Regardless of what happens, those are going to be epic, epic outings. The AEW World's title, the TBS title, international title, all these matches. Just about every one of these matches is a pay-per-view calendar match. So. This looks to be as stacked of a card as we've seen all year for AEW, and I know they've had some really good pay-per-views all year, and this looks to be one of the better ones that we've seen in recent memory. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. But I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys do plan on watching, I know I'm going to be enjoying it. I'm going to be watching, and we'll see what happens after the show, man. But AEW final pay-per-view of the year. and they're about to go out with a bang. And I'm telling you, they're going to go out. They're going to send off 2024 with a big, big bang with this World's End pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens, man. But anyway, that's all I got to say for that. So let me close out this video here. So thank you for watching once more. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, give me your thoughts on any of these matches, your thoughts on the pay-per-view, your thoughts on my predictions, anything of that nature. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate all spark you get. Very close to hitting 600 here on the channel. So if you guys can help me out with that, anybody who hasn't subscribed yet, if you can help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, that is going to be it for that. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I will see you next time whenever I decide to do a video. Be it tomorrow or the next day. If I don't, we'll say have a good weekend. Happy New Year's to you all. And I'm sure I'll do a video or a post at some point before, the start of the new year. So, but anyway, that's all I got to say for that. Thank you for watching once more. Till next time, Wrestling Taco, and I'm out for now. See you guys later. Peace.